Welcome back to our PyTorch series. This is where things get really exciting. In the previous episodes, we worked with simple numerical data. Cricket scores, movie ratings, match predictions. Today, we are jumping into computer vision. We are going to build a convolutional neural network, or CNN, that can actually see and recognize images. By the end of this episode, you'll have a working image classifier trained on 50 real images. This is the technology behind face recognition, self-driving cars, and medical image analysis. Let's dive into the visual world of AI. Before we build CNNs, we need to understand how computers see images. To us, an image is a picture. Maybe a photo of a car or a cat. But to a computer, an image is just a grid of numbers. Each pixel has a color. And that color is represented by numbers. A grayscale image is a 2D grid where each number represents brightness. 0 for black, 255 for white. A color image has 3 channels, red, green, and blue. Each channel is a 2D grid. So a color image is actually a 3D tensor. Think of it like a newspaper photo. If you look very closely, you'll see it's made of tiny dots. Each dot has an intensity. That's exactly how digital images work. They're grids of colored dots. And we can represent those dots as numbers in a tensor. Let's set up our environment. We'll need PyTorch for neural networks, TorchVision for computer vision datasets and transformations, and Matplotlib for visualizing images. TorchVision is like a toolkit specifically for vision tasks. It comes with popular datasets, pre-trained models, and image processing utilities. I'm importing Torch and torch.nn as usual. Then I'm importing TorchVision, which has datasets and transforms. Transforms are operations we apply to images, like resizing, normalizing, or augmenting. I'm also importing Matplotlib for visualization and NumPy for numerical operations. Setting the random seed ensures reproducibility. I'm checking if GPU is available and setting the device accordingly. If we have a GPU, we'll use it for faster training. Otherwise, CPU is fine. For this episode, the code will work on both. We'll use CIFAR 10, a famous dataset for image classification. It has 60 color images of size 32 by 32 pixels. The images belong to 10 classes: airplanes, cars, birds, cats, deer, dogs, frogs, horses, ships, and trucks. This is a classic benchmark for testing vision models. I'm defining data transforms. First, convert images to tensors. Then normalize with mean and standard deviation of 0.5 for each channel. This maps pixel values from the 0 to 1 range to roughly -1 to +1 range. This normalization helps the network train faster and more stably. Now I'm loading the CIFAR 10 dataset. The download parameter is true, so it'll download automatically if not present. The download is about 170 megabytes. We have 50 training images and 10 test images. The classes are airplane, automobile, bird, cat, deer, dog, frog, horse, ship, and truck. That's 10 classes total. Each class has 5 training images and 1 test images. This is a balanced dataset. Let me check the shape of one image. It's 3 by 32 by 32. 3 channels for RGB, 32 pixels height, 32 pixels width. Small images but enough for learning. Let's visualize some images to see what we are working with. This helps us understand the data before building our model. I'm creating a grid of 8 sample images. Let me grab random images from the training set and display them. Look at these images. They're quite small, only 32 by 32 pixels. And some are challenging even for humans to classify. The resolution is low. But our CNN will learn to recognize patterns, edges, textures, shapes, and eventually classify them correctly. Notice how diverse the dataset is. Different angles, lighting conditions, backgrounds. This variety helps the model generalize to new images it hasn't seen before. Now, let's understand CNNs. Regular neural networks treat images as flat vectors. They lose spatial information. CNNs are different. They preserve the 2D structure of images. They use convolutional layers that slide small filters across the image, detecting patterns like edges and textures. Think of it like this. Imagine you're checking if a photo is blurry. You don't need to see the whole photo at once. You can slide a magnifying glass across it, checking small regions. That's what convolution does. Before building our CNN, we need data loaders. These help us efficiently load data in batches during training. Instead of loading all 50 images at once, we load small batches like 128 images at a time. This is more memory efficient. I'm creating data loaders for training and testing. Batch size is 128. This means we'll process 128 images at a time. Shuffle is true for training. This randomizes the order each epoch. Helps the model generalize better. For testing, we don't shuffle. We just want consistent evaluation. NumWorkers is 0. This works on all platforms including Windows. On Linux or Mac with a GPU, you could increase this to 2 or 4 for faster data loading. Let me calculate 50 training images divided by batch size 128 equals about 391 batches per epoch. The model will update weights 391 times per epoch. Now, let's build our CNN. We'll use a classic architecture. Convolutional layers to detect features. Max pooling to reduce dimensions. And fully connected layers for classification. Let me explain each component. I'm defining a CNN class. Let me walk through the architecture. First, convolutional layer. Conv2D takes 3 input channels, the RGB channels. Produces 32 output feature maps. Kernel size is 3 by 3. Padding is 1 to maintain dimensions. Second, conv layer. Takes 32 input channels from previous layer. Produces 64 feature maps. Same kernel size and padding. Third, conv layer. Takes 64 channels, produces 128. We are extracting increasingly complex features. After convolutions, I use max pooling. This reduces spatial dimensions by half. Helps reduce computation and adds translation invariance. Finally, fully connected layers. I flatten the features. Pass through to dense layers. Final output is 10 neurons, 1 for each class. Let me count parameters. This network has over 1.2 million trainable parameters. All of these will learn from our 50 training images. Pretty amazing. Let's set up training. We need a loss function and an optimizer. For multi-class classification, we use cross-entropy loss. For the optimizer, I'll use Adam with learning rate 0.001. This is a good starting point for CNNs. I'm setting up cross-entropy loss. This works perfectly for multi-class classification. It measures how far our predicted probabilities are from the true labels. For the optimizer, I'm using Adam with learning rate 0.001. Adam is smart. It adapts the learning rate for each parameter. Much better than plain gradient descent. Now for the exciting part. Training our CNN on 50, 0 real images. Training time varies by hardware. On a GPU, this takes a few minutes. On CPU, it might take 15 to 30 minutes. Let's watch the model learn. I'm training for 15 epochs. Each epoch goes through all 50, 0 training images. For each batch, I do the standard training loop. Forward pass, compute loss, backward pass, update weights, 0 gradients. I'm tracking training loss and computing test accuracy after each epoch. This helps us monitor if the model is learning. Watch the progress. Loss starts around 1.5. Accuracy starts around 48%. The model is learning patterns from the data. As training continues, loss decreases and accuracy increases. By epoch 5, we are at 68% accuracy. By epoch 10, we reach 72%. Final epoch, loss is around 0.38. Accuracy reaches about 75%. From random guessing at 10%, we improved to 75%. The model learned to classify images. Let's visualize how our model improved during training. This shows the learning journey. I'm creating 2 plots. First, training loss over epochs. Look at this curve. Loss starts high around 1.5. Then steadily decreases. By epoch 15, it's down to around 0.38. This shows the model is learning. Second plot shows test accuracy. It starts around 48%. Then climbs steadily, reaching about 75% by the end. The steady increase shows the model is generalizing well, not just memorizing. If accuracy had plateaued early or started decreasing, that would indicate overfitting. But our curve looks healthy. The model is learning genuine patterns. Let's see which classes our model handles well and which are challenging. This gives us insights into the model's strengths and weaknesses. I'm computing accuracy for each of the 10 classes separately. This shows which objects the model recognizes best. Let me analyze the results. Ships typically get around 85% accuracy. The model is great at recognizing ships. Probably because ships have distinctive shapes and are usually on water. Trucks also perform well, around 82% accuracy. Trucks have clear rectangular shapes. Cats are more challenging, maybe 65% accuracy. Cats vary a lot in pose, color, and appearance. Also, they can look similar to dogs. Dogs are similar, around 68% accuracy. The model sometimes confuses cats and dogs. This makes sense, they're visually similar. Birds get around 72% accuracy. Decent. But birds in flight versus perched look very different. This analysis is valuable. It tells us rigid objects with distinct shapes are easier. Animals with varying poses are harder. To improve, we could get more animal images or use data augmentation. Let's see our model in action. I'll show some test images with predictions. This is the fun part. I'm grabbing some test images and making predictions. Let me show 8 random examples. Look at these predictions. The model correctly identified this car, this frog, this plane. Amazing! Even with 32 by 32 pixel images, the CNN learned to recognize objects. Here's a mistake. The model predicted dog, but it's actually a cat. As we saw earlier, cats and dogs are the hardest classes. They look similar in low resolution. But overall, most predictions are correct. The model learned meaningful visual patterns. Edge detectors in early layers. Texture recognizers in middle layers. Object part detectors in later layers. All working together. Let's save our trained model. We can load it later for predictions without retraining. This is how you deploy CNNs to production. I'm saving the model state dict. This contains all the learned parameters. The file is about 18 megabytes. To use this in production, you'd load the model architecture, load these weights, set it to eval mode, and start making predictions. No need to retrain. This trained model represents hours of computation. But loading takes just seconds. Congratulations! You've built and trained a real computer vision model. Let's recap this incredible journey. We started by understanding images as tensors. Color images are 3D tensors with red, green, and blue channels. We learned about CNNs and how they preserve spatial structure. Unlike regular neural networks that flatten images, CNNs use convolutional layers that slide across images detecting patterns. We loaded Sapphire 10, a real dataset with 60 images. We used data loaders for efficient batch processing. We built a CNN with 3 convolutional layers and 2 fully connected layers. Over 1.2 million parameters. We trained on 50 images for 15 epochs. Watch the loss decrease from 1.5 to around 0.38. Saw accuracy climb from 48% to about 75%. We analyzed per class performance. Ships and trucks were easiest. Cats and dogs were hardest. This makes intuitive sense. We visualized predictions and saw the CNN correctly identifying most objects. And we saved the model for deployment. This is real computer vision. The same techniques power facial recognition, autonomous vehicles, medical diagnosis, and more. In the next episode, we are taking it to the next level. Transfer learning. Instead of training from scratch, we'll use pre-trained models like RaceNet that were trained on millions of images. We'll adapt them for our specific tasks. We'll achieve 95+% accuracy with just hundreds of images. This is how professionals build vision systems. Practice what you learned today. Try different CNN architectures. Experiment with more layers or filters. Try data augmentation. Train for more epochs. The more you experiment, the more intuitive it becomes. See you in the final, episode 5.